into deeper shapes without prepping my body, and it left me feeling tight and a little cranky in all the wrong places. In this video, I'm sharing with you 3 areas to focus on to prep you for advanced back bends and things that you can do on the daily to keep your body open and ready to go just a little bit deeper. For this first prep in your back bend work, go ahead and grab a strap or a resistance band, because we are going to be focusing on the shoulders and shoulder mobility. If you have a tightness through the shoulders, you have a hard time accessing your thoracic spine, your mid-spine in a back bend. And so it is imperative that we get the shoulders to open up. And one of the best ways to do this is by shoulder flossing. It might not be the most comfortable thing to do, but let me tell you, it will change the mobility of your shoulders. So you're going to grab a strap or a resistance band. So if you have really, really tight shoulders, maybe there's some trauma that's happened through the shoulders, grab a resistance band instead of a strap, because it's going to be a little kinder to you as you move through the flossing. So you're going to grab the strap with a resistance band with the palm facing down. And I always like to set up, if I'm in a cross-legged position, that my hands are as far apart as my knees are in this cross-legged position. That's a good place to start. Now, for a shoulder flossing, you're going to keep the elbows straight and the strap is tight and taut. From here, you're going to slowly, we move with control always, lift the arms up and over the head, raise the shoulders up. Notice how my ribs had to lift way up, away from my hips. And then without leaning forward, bring the arms back, keeping the elbows straight. And then we go back the way we came. Now, if you did this and you were like, that's no big deal, walk your hands in a little bit. I'm going to do it with you again, and I'm going to show you a side view because I need you to understand how engaged my core is and how I'm not letting my flexibility take over this so that I truly am targeting the shoulders. Now, if this is heavy lifting for you, like I said, have that resistance band, or simply let your hands pull apart on the strap. Just let them slide because you don't want to force anything. This will get better over time. So for this second rep that I'm going to do for you, I want you to notice that my shoulders are over the hips. And as I move forward, as I move the arms up and over, I'm not going to lean away from the tension of it. I'm going to keep the shoulders right over the hips, the core engaged, and the ribs closed. So you're not going to see me pull into a back bend like this. All right, so here we are for our second one, side view. You're going to lift up, and then shoulders stay over the hips. I'm not saying it's comfortable, but I am keeping the ribs closed. So I'm truly working just my shoulder mobility instead of going the other way. And let me show you if you might be making this mistake. All right, so common mistake in shoulder flossing is we lean forward and we flare the ribs to take away from the shoulder. That is a back bend, and it might feel good to do, and it might very well prep you for it, but I want you to open and concentrate just on this area because it's going to affect this part of your spine when you go into a deep back bend. All right, so I'm going to stay in this profile view because I'm going to show you my second way to prep my shoulders that I love to do before I go into advanced back bends. And we're going to take the strap, let's grab it with your right hand, I'm mirroring you, and I'm gonna bring the hand and pat myself on the back. And then left arm, palm facing out with the left hand, grab the strap, and I have quite a bit of distance. So we're in a Gomukhya arm, or the arms that you would have in Gomukhasana, but here we are with the strap. And if you need to slide the hands on the strap, you're going to. From here, you're going to open up the arms. Notice how I'm letting the strap slide in my hands to create a little bit more space. The goal here, to keep the shoulders over the hips and to create this V shape from the side. It is an amazing stretch. Also to keep the elbows as straight as you can. So if they're bent, then just, you know, let it slide, let it open up a little bit. And then retract the arms back to the body, and then do it again and hold it. And then do one more. I like to do 3 on each side of these. It's such a good shoulder stretch. So let's do the other side. So grab the strap now with your left hand, and then pat yourself on the back, and then right arm comes down and under to grab the strap from behind. And then here we go. You're gonna come out, hold this for 4, 3, 2, 1, and go back. And again, lock out the elbows, keep your core engaged. Notice how my stomach is really pulled in. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1, last one. And here we go. Bring it back. Here we are for 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so if you do this alone, I promise you, you're gonna start feeling so much improvement in your full camel work, in pressing up to wheel or dropping back to wheel, or maybe even your wall walks down to wheel. Opening up the shoulders is a big deal, and keeping the elbows straight is very important. I can't stress that enough. So let's move on from here to the next prep that I have just for you. The next thing we're going to focus on is opening up and lengthening your quadriceps as well as your hip flexors. And we're going to do that through a pretty simple move that you can get done very easily before you engage in your advanced backbend practice. Or, you know, if you're watching this and you're like, I don't think I'm advanced, do this anyways, or do these things anyways. They're going to improve your backbends, I promise. The reason we're going to stretch the front side of the body is because when you're in a backbend, like you can close your eyes and visualize yourself in a backbend, your front line of your body, so everything that's on that front line is stretching. It is in a massive stretch because your back line, all of those muscles are working and contracted. And so if we can open up the front side body, this really will improve your back bends because we're creating more space here, which means that we can go a little further into the bends. So my favorite way to do this is to work in a half hero. So let me face this way. So we're going to start with the right leg. So come into a seated position with your feet in front of you, and then take your right leg and bring it into a half hero. Notice that my heel is on the outside of the hip, and also notice that the front, the top of my foot is on the mat and the toes are pointing back. I hate to tell you, but if you're here, you need to work through this to get the foot here, all right? It's just not as good of a stretch. So make sure that you have the right alignment, foot facing back, toes facing back, top of foot on floor. All right, that being said, I'm gonna take my left foot and plant it flat because I could feel that there was like an imbalance in my hips, and if you feel that too, use your other foot to help you shift the hips before you come into it. Then you can extend the leg. Now, if being in half hero, you bring your hands behind you and you're like, thank you very much, that is enough, then you're gonna stay here. From here, if you can, come down to the elbows. And this is as far as we're going to take this. Of course, you can come all the way down, shoulders to the floor, but that is a passive stretch, and we're going to actively stretch out the quad and your hip flexor of the right leg. So you'll notice that there's a curve in my spine right here. You can take your hands and bring it to your low spine if that helps you throughout this, so that you understand how your body is working. Now from here, I'm going to move this hand so you can see it. I'm going to tuck my pelvis under and flatten the low spine a little bit so it's straighter. Now my right quad is seriously stretching. Like this is a deep, deep stretch. And then I release it. And then I tuck the pelvis under, drawing the right knee down to the floor. The stomach is in, holding it for about 4 breaths here. And then I release it. And then one more, tuck your pelvis under, stomach in, hold, breathe through the stretch, Now, and notice, you know, if your knee is screaming at you right now, that's not yoga, all right? That's not yoga. Please come up on your hands to do this work so that it's not as intense. Be good to you. Let's do the other side. So come on out of it. I'm just gonna flip so that you get the best view of what's happening. Now my right leg is extended and I'm going to half hero the left leg. From here, I decide, you know, if I need to shift the hips to get the hips a little bit more even so I feel more in control, go ahead and do that before you come into it. Hands on the floor. If you're feeling a lot of resistance already through the quad just from being in this position, you're gonna stay on your hands. If you've got a little bit more mobility in the hips and lengthen the quads, come down to your elbows. But know that this is gonna be an active stretch and we're not gonna be passive about it at all. So having that curvature in the low spine, we know it's there. We're gonna tuck the pelvis under, draw the belly button in towards the thigh and hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Release it, relax it. Let your body go back to where it naturally wants to be and then tuck the pelvis again. Hold for 4. You can do this. 3, 2, 1. Release it. You've got this. Last one. Tuck the pelvis under, hang on to it, suck your stomach in, hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, man, does that feel good. All right, so take your left leg out of it, shake your legs out. I promise when you decide to go into the next phase of your practice, this is gonna feel so open, lovely, and ready for you to get into those wheels, to take your full camel to that next phase, to press the feet into the head and full cobra. Whatever you're working on, this really can help you shift the practice and shift your back bends to that next level. Back bends are not just about being open or being flexible. They are about strength. And if you have yet to build strength into your back bending practice, then you need to sound the alarms right now. If you're flexible and not strong and you're watching this, you need to get dialed in to strength training for your back bends, strength training for your yoga practice. That is going to be a fully embodied practice. I'm talking from knowledge here. I used to just back bend and back bend and back bend and back bend, and I never went upside down in an inversion, and I never went into an arm balance. And down dog was just something I did every once in a while. So if you relate to what I'm saying to you, you need to vary up your practice and start building strength into it so that your back bends are healthy and strong. All right, so I'll get off my soapbox there with that, but please know it's not just about having the deepest back bend, it's about having the right back bending technique, and strength is part of that. So how do we cultivate strength to prep for deeper back bends? We're going to work first in bridge pose. I know, so simple, a bridge pose, and in locust. These poses are going to teach us how to treat the glutes. So often, back benders, especially people who start with standing back bends and, you know, have a deep back bending practice can get into this really bad habit of clenching their glutes. And that is not the way we want to activate our glutes. We don't need to clench them, but they are engaged in the back bend. Of course they are. That is a major muscle component in back bends. How do we work it the right way so that it doesn't overwork the glutes and the feet and the legs and the inner thighs and all that good stuff is engaged too. So let's start with bridge. Come lay down in a reclined position, but before you do, grab your ankles from the front, scoot them in to your hips as much as you can. So I'm really pulling into it. This is hard for me. I'm a long person, and so this is taking me a while to develop, so do your best. Then lay down on your back. Now we're gonna get into bridge the right way, and once we're in it, so please do this with me, we're gonna talk about your glutes and the activation that they should be having, as well as your inner thighs. So to get into a good, solid bridge, fold your shoulder blades into each other. So now my ribs are already off the mat. My hands, I can touch my ankles, my heels, if possible. Don't force it if not. take a breath in. You always move into a back bend on the exhale, lift your hips up. Now, for this one, we're going to interlace our fingers underneath our seat and press your pinky finger and tricep down to the mat. Look down your center line. If your stomach looks like this, you're using too much low spine. Pull your ribs up away from your hips. Press your feet into the floor. Lift your hips higher until you feel like this is as flat as your stomach can get in this position. Now, from here, I want you to pay attention to your glutes. Are you squeezing your butt cheeks together? Or, in bridge, it's a little harder to squeeze your butt cheeks together, so that's why we're working here. Do you feel the activation here in this lower glutes, closer to the hamstring attachment? This is where we're going to feel the most. But to actively squeeze and clench the glutes, I have to think about it here. And so if you're noticing that this is a different glute activation, this is actually where you want to be in your back bends, is with the activation here. It's working pretty hard, but up here where, you know, where the butt cheeks come together, there's not a lot happening there, all right? So you don't want to clench your glutes, you want to activate your glutes. Come on down. All right, now we're going to do it again, but I want you to pay attention to your inner thigh. How do you know if your inner thigh is engaged? Well, you should feel it, honestly. But if your big toe is not engaged on the floor, and this goes for any yoga posture, so I'm dropping some knowledge here. If your big toe is coming up off the floor, your inner thigh isn't engaged. It's out of the posture. It's taking a break, it's on vacation. All right, so let's walk our heels as close to our seat as we can, fold the shoulder blades into each other, prepping for another bridge. This one's all about inner thigh. Take a breath in, move on the exhale, you're in it. All right, interlace your fingers, press pinky finger and tricep down to the floor for stability, pull the ribs away from the hips. Now, press your big toe down into the floor. Did you see that? This was me like disengaging the toes. And then this is me engaging the toes. Did you see how much more give I had to lift the hips? Just a little bit higher here. And then maybe bring your knees in a little bit. See how that feels, as if you want the knees to touch each other. And just hold into it. Notice everything that's working for you. That's the way your legs should feel in a wheel. Yeah? This is the way your legs should feel in a standing back bend. Dropping back to wheel, they should be super, super active. So working your bridge to help you there. Now, that being said, we're gonna work your glutes now in locust pose just to notice what's happening through the glutes and the inner thighs in a different shape back bend. All right, I'm setting up for a locust pose, and we're gonna do this. Feet are gonna be hip width distance apart. We're gonna work through the shoulders a little bit more. Why not add in some shoulder activation as well by bringing the arms forward, palms facing each other. This makes locust relatively much harder. But before I lift up into the full locust, I wanna talk about the legs. So often when people lift up in a locust, it looks like this. Knees are soft, and they're not really stretching or lifting very high. It's just very passive. And we're gonna work differently. So before you lift up, you're gonna lift your kneecaps off the mat. So now the quads are engaged. They're gonna help you out here, yeah? And stretch the toes to the back wall. And we're just gonna lift the legs doing this. So I have my chin on my hands, and then lift your legs up. Stretch with the knee. Stretch with the knee. How high can you get the legs? Can you lift up? And then come on back. All right, now this is working your hamstring as well as your glutes. And hamstrings have a huge contraction happening for them. They are fully contracted when you are in a back bend. So if you have a weakness in the hamstrings, they're tighter, they're shorter, then make sure that you're stretching them out and treating them well. If you're into self-myofascial release, roll them out every day so that you're creating some more space in them and keeping them happy so you can go deeper in your back bends. All right, now we're gonna add the arms. Remember that the focus here is on your inner thighs, your legs, and how your glutes are activating. Take a breath in. Listen to me carefully how to lift up. Lift your arms, your head, your legs up. Stretch the arms forward. Now, pay attention to your glutes. Can you relax them a little bit? Stretch the knee. Lift up higher without clenching. And then come down. So notice, what the difference is. If you have, if you're clenching a lot, more than likely, you have a habit of using the low spine in your back bends more than any other part of your spine. And know that you want to use the whole spine to get there. But locust pose is a very thoracic back bend spine because of the shoulder position and where the legs are in space. It's all about targeting your mid-thoracic spine, which is the hardest part of your spine to get to move into the bend. And so it's important to prep that part of your body for your body to know that, hey, this part of your spine does bend, and to then work for the strength of that to improve your thoracic back bends. So this is a great prep before you move into more advanced work. Always remember, advanced back bends are not about being bendy. They're about being smart with your prep and intentional about building strength. If you want to go deeper in your back bends safely, I have a 3-part video series called The 3 Secrets to Effortless Back Bends. In it, we're going to dive into correct technique and things to look for to really solidify a great back bending practice. No matter if you have been back bending for 10, 20 years, or you're brand new to the thought of going into back bends and deepening them, you will learn something in this 3-part video series. So make sure that you grab it today. The link is below. And as always, I hope that this video serves you well as you work to deepen your back bends and your overall yoga practice. I hope to see you in an online class soon. I have an online yoga studio for women who are over 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, who are tired of taking the same old yoga class that they've taken for years and are ready to move into some more advanced work to see where they can take your practice. In this way, we'll build strength, we'll increase mobility and flexibility as we age so you can live your absolute best life. And I can't wait to see you over there. So come join me. I have a 7-day free trial for the studio and lots of other perks and happenings there all of the time. It's your space to connect with me, not just as your yoga teacher, but as your personal yoga coach to take you forward to that next step. And it is an incredible community of women. So come join me over there soon. You'll find all the info below.